Born and raised in Minnesota
Yeah.
your whole life?
Yep.
Okay, what was early childhood like for you, and what was growing up like?
I mean, I would say I had a like looking now in the spot where I am today, looking back, I would say I had a pretty good childhood. I struggled a lot. Probably starting, preteen years,
Mhm.
with the rules. So I was born and raised into what's called the Stadion Lutheran. My parents, um, I should say my mom and my family, is still a part of that church. Um,
It's
so
similar, it's comparable to Amish, right? It's
it
not Amish, obviously, but it's comparable.
yeah, so it's very similar in that just kind of like the rules and how strict they are. Like we went to public schools, and we didn't wear everybody asked if we didn't wear uniforms. Nobody, wears like said outfits or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really that's something I really struggled with. Like I wasn't allowed to wear makeup. We weren't allowed to listen to any music unless it was like our church music or classical music. We didn't have any TVs, which is totally fine nowadays.
Mhm.
Looking back, like I'm actually grateful for that. Because there's 9 of us siblings. They don't use birth control. So like growing up a typical girl, I wanted to, wear makeup and wear earrings and, like stuff like that. And I was never allowed to do that. And then as I got into high school, I had some really good friends and um I wasn't allowed to, I guess, really participate in anything with anybody outside of, the church.
Mm.
So like I remember one time I was in band and I decided I was going to go to the football game because the band was playing there and I got in so much trouble. Like my dad came there and just ripped me out. Like that's how, significant that it was. But, so I started obviously rebelling because I wasn't able to understand
Mm.
like why these rules are set in place.
Yeah, it was a very strict upbringing, it sounds
Mhm.
like. And
Yeah.
were you experiencing just a lot of fear about potentially breaking the rules at a young age?
Oh yeah, definitely. So it's very, I don't know how to put it into words. You're, I was very afraid, um, that if you do one thing wrong, like let's say you're driving down the road and all of a sudden you're like, I want to listen to some country music. And so this is just an example of what it was like. That if I turn on the radio and I die in a car crash, I am going to hell. And so that was my mindset for almost most of my life. Actually, I was, it's crazy.
Yeah. So by turning on the radio,
Hmm.
that's against, yeah, okay. That's
Hmm.
interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, that takes a toll on someone living in fear, walking on eggshells like that at such a young age. Because also the brain is in development from I think 0 to 9 years old or something. So it's interesting. So you go to high school. Do you play sports or anything, or are you
No,
just
we're not allowed to play
yo?
sports.
You can't play sports
No.
either.
Mm.
Oh my god! And your parents are still involved in the church?
So my dad passed away 13 years ago.
Mm,
Very good man. He was a police officer my entire life. And my mom is, yeah, my mom is, but she's amazing.
yeah.
Just put it lightly.
So wait, your dad was a police officer, but he couldn't participate in a lot of the things. So like, what did he do for the radio? Like when he needed backup? Like
Well, I mean, he
did they let
obviously
him?
like the radio has nothing to do with like religion, I guess.
Got it. Music does.
Music, yeah.
Okay.
But if your jobs and stuff like you can't help that other people listen to music.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of like, what's inside and if you choose to do that or want to do it.
Interesting. Okay. So you graduate high school.
Yep.
When do you start really rebelling?
Well, I got married the weekend after I graduated high school.
And are you allowed to get married? Like, was
S-
it by the church? Like, was it an arranged marriage? What
so yeah,
savage
so
move?
so dating is really short, because you can't live with anybody before you get married.
Mhm.
And so dating is really pretty quick.
Mhm.
So I met my ex-husband, um, my kid's dad in the church, obviously. Um, and yeah, I graduated high school. The next weekend, I was married,
Wow.
18 years old.
But you knew him from school.
I had just met him. I didn't know him growing up.
Okay.
Like, of people, when you're going to church, you kind of like, oh, that's that family or that's that family. But I
Mm.
didn't know him personally. I had met him and we were engaged pretty quickly, probably within 4 months of meeting him.
Wow.
So,
That's interesting.
yeah.
Okay, so you got to know him real quick. Yeah. Eh,
Too quick? No.
yes. So you get married and then you start having kids
Yep.
right away?
Yep.
How many kids do you have?
6.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you had back to back to back to back to back to back.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. And he was working, I'm assuming, and you were staying at home with the
Yep.
kids. Okay. Now, was that all allowed in the religion? You guys are married, I'm assuming, so you could have kids. And
Oh, yeah.
when does the rebelling start to happen?
Um, I would probably say when our marriage started to get really dark.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I just started questioning things, obviously, like why would God put me in this marriage? And why would he allow these things to happen? That's not my mindset now,
Of
but
course.
that was my, you know what I mean? Like that was my mindset back then because um the huge thing is for them is forgive and forget. It's the phrase. And that's exactly what I did. I was so busy raising the kids, that I guess there was a lot of things that happened and I just put them in the filing cabinets. So I really, I guess it was on and off for we were married, I think 11 years.
Okay.
11 11, yeah, I think around 11 years.
Hey guys, quick update. Every Monday night, I host the Rise Above Recovery meeting. It's an open meeting for any addiction, alcohol, drugs, gambling, food, whatever you're struggling with, you're welcome here. To get the meeting link and weekly updates, just email me at kevin@riseabovepod.com and I'll add you to the list. Also, if this podcast has helped you, please like, subscribe, or leave a rating. It helps us continue to spread the message of hope. Lastly, if you'd like to go even deeper with Rise Above, check out our Patreon. Supporters get access to live interviews and can chat with guests after the interview. Thank you. You said it started getting dark. What did that consist of? Was it like resentment towards him because maybe you shouldn't have gotten married that quick? Or
No.
what was the dark period?
No. So he started having extracurricular activities.
Oh.
Um,
Substances or other people?
Other people.
Okay.
So early on in the marriage, I noticed that something was off right away.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just kind of like when it was good, it was really good. And then when it was bad, it was really bad. And like for sure my oldest like had to grow up so fast because he would in the wintertime he would have, bouts of really long depression and just do nothing but play video games. Um and I never had that support, from your partner that you should when you're raising children with. Um I I never had a lot of those things that you should that any human being that's raising kids that should feel, in life.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay. So it started getting dark. You guys were married for 11 years. So at
mhm.
this point, you're 29-ish, 18, 11. If my math is correct. So do you guys get a divorce?
We did eventually.
Okay.
Um, so I only let the outside world see what I wanted them to see.
Mhm.
Um, because being in that church for me was so, and maybe so more the family is not, I don't want to put it as a whole, but it's very much like materialistic things as well.
Mhm.
Um, and I just really didn't tell anybody what was going on. Because there was some, how do I put it? On and off, different forms of abuse that was happening.
Mm.
And then when I did say something to a family member, it was just nobody knew what to do with it, I guess. So it would just go into that filing cabinet in my brain.
Yeah.
And yeah, it got to a point where like I hit rock bottom because everything just came to a head. And then I found the bottle.
Okay. So you find
Because
alcohol.
because
Yeah.
drinking is also, it's against the religion to drink.
Okay.
Um,
So you have 6 kids.
mhm.
You're still at home. There's abuse that's taking place as well. You discover alcohol. Now, had you drank alcohol prior to, tried it? Had you had gotten drunk before? Well,
Yeah, I a couple times in my teenage years, and then maybe on one hand I could count from 18 until,
mhm.
the end of the marriage. So not very, like, very, very rare.
Okay.
Very rare.
So what were your drinking patterns like? You couldn't do it because of the religious
Yeah.
beliefs?
Mhm.
Were you sneaking it
No, so
during
I
the
would
day?
just there would be, like, a point in time where I would just go out, to the bar with a friend or a specific friend, that I had met that wasn't in the church.
Mhm.
But it happened, like, once every couple years, and that was it. Like, one night, it was never in our home, anything like that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So you're drinking that's actually not bad. Once every couple years, but you go out and get hammered.
Yeah.
And okay.
And
But
then
you
feel
just
super guilty about it.
okay.
Yeah.
When do things start to kind of pick up then for you?
Um, so yeah, right before we, separated, I actually announced, um, that I was leaving, the church. So how mind you, I was probably over 30 years old at this point.
Okay.
A little over 30 years old, and, like, I had started dyeing my hair because we can't dye our hair either.
Mhm.
So I started doing things and people were noticing. Um, and then so before we had split up, it was after I had my sixth, um,
Child.
child that, I was leaving the church.
Mhm.
And I know I had questioned it on and off, for a while.
Mhm.
But that was life-changing.
Leaving the church.
Yes.
Okay. So I mean, if
I
it
think I left the church before I found the bottle.
wow.
Yeah.
You left the church before you started drinking.
Mhm.
Okay. I would have lost my shit if I left the church and I could do all these things now. I would have done them all in one day and like went completely haywire.
That's what happens a lot.
Yeah. So, do a lot of people die once they leave the church?
No, they struggle a lot, and a lot of people go back because it's so difficult.
Mm, you just start doing all these things, these crazy ass
Yep.
things,
Yeah.
um, and listening to music while doing it. So, okay. So you leave the church
Mhm.
and you get a divorce, or was it a separation?
It was a separation at
Okay.
first. Yeah, because at that point, I was, down a path of self-destruction.
Yeah. Okay. So where does it go to once you kind of get past the sporadic drinking? Does it become every day at some point?
Yep.
Okay.
It was every single day. I believe it was only a total of not I shouldn't say only because it was significant still. About 9 months.
Okay.
But yeah, it went from 0 to 100 in I can't it was a tornado,
Yeah.
once I found the bottle. So, yeah, it was every single day.
Okay.
Um, And I remember like looking at the clock and it was like, noon, 1 o'clock. Like literally you're just waiting for, I guess, to rationalize it in your head that you can start drinking.
Mm-hmm.
So it was every single day.
Mm-hmm.
I was drinking hard alcohol. Like I didn't like beer at that point because I hadn't really had it, I guess. So yeah, just bottles of straight. I was just drinking it straight.
Yeah. What prompted you to stop after the 9 months?
Interventions.
Oh, wow. You started getting intervention.
Hmm.
Okay. Who, like your parents, family?
Yeah, so it got so bad. Obviously, I had these 6 kids, and um, I'm trying to think where the timeline here. Yeah, because I mean, there was so much stuff that happened before we split. Just the damages of my trail of destruction. And then I had attempted to go into treatment, into inpatient. So everybody around me, obviously, the families were like, "There's a problem." Well, clearly, there's a problem.
Yeah.
And I admitted that I had a problem, but I didn't admit I was an alcoholic because my thought of an alcoholic was homeless man under the bridge with a paper bag.
Mm.
I was not knowledgeable in anything, my mom has even said, she wishes she would have talked to us about alcohol because it wasn't even discussed. But yeah, so so the first time I had tried going, I went there and this is crazy. I was like, I am not like you guys over there,
Mhm.
right? Because I have my kids, I have a house, I'm not in any legal trouble. And so that's exactly where my mind frame was. So I left.
Okay.
And then CPS got involved. So I was staying with my mom's, or staying at my mom's with 6 kids, and I was drinking, making poor life decisions, um, all that still. So CPS got involved, and it did get to that point where I was forced. I had no other choice.
To give over your kids.
Yeah, and to go back to inpatient treatment.
Okay, so you go the first time, you AMA,
Yep.
against medical advice,
Mhm.
bounce from there because
Mhm.
you're comparing yourself to everyone else. You go back to your mom's where the 6 kids are staying as well. You relapse, start drinking, CPS gets involved. Do they take your kids?
Yep. They took
Okay.
the kids from both me and my ex-husband.
Okay, was your ex-husband doing drugs too and drinking?
No, I mean he was drinking with me.
Oh, okay.
When we would drink, but I can't say that.
Was he living with you at your mom's?
No,
Oh,
no.
I'm surprised they wouldn't give the kids over to the father, no?
He was in jail
Oh.
at that exact time where we had to meet with CPS, so they try to keep him in the family.
Yeah.
So they don't have to go to like I guess foster care, like
Yeah,
a
of course, of
stranger's
course.
home.
Yeah.
So he was in jail, so I had to go meet with social services and everything, and we split the kids up to go with different
Foster
homes
homes.
in his family, but yeah, foster
Oh,
homes.
okay, so they got to stay with family
Mhm.
then at that point.
Mhm.
Wait, let's back up. Why did your ex-husband go to jail?
He was serving time for a felony strangulation charge against me.
On you.
Mhm.
Can you tell us the story of what happened?
Sure. So, it was obviously before we
Split
split.
up.
And that specific night, I'm only speaking for that night, I was sober. I believe I was yeah, so I was scheduled to go into treatment the next day, which I did.
Mhm.
So, um, and all of our kids were home. And a lot of it I can't remember the exact details. He got upset. I believe he was upset because I was leaving to go to treatment. I'm not sure what was going through his
Mhm.
mind. Um, but I was going to remove myself from the situation and go to my mom's house because my mom lived like 10 minutes away.
Mhm.
So I attempted to get belongings and stuff together, and he started took my car keys, did something in the garage door so I can't leave. And that's when the fighting began. Is because he was trying to get me to not leave.
Yeah.
And it actually was, he took all the, like my phone, all the chargers, so I couldn't charge it. But it happened by the front door as I was obviously trying to get out. And my oldest daughter, Tyra, who's that's the one that died. I remember her being there. Sorry, I haven't talked about this for a while.
We can move on if you'd like.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. If I cry a lot, I cry over everything now. So, yeah, I'm including this in her because it's so significant for her story as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was screaming at him, to let me go. And then, he did, and I ran over the neighbors, and it was a huge, hunt for him because he ran. But,
Yeah.
he did get a,
Domestic violence charge.
felony strangulation
And then
charge for that night.
he was in jail. Okay.
Mhm.
So the kids are allocated to other family members,
Mhm.
and then you go back to rehab.
Mhm.
What year is this roughly?
Oh gosh. I have no idea. So it
Okay.
was probably so my youngest is 11 and she was probably 1.
Okay. So 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I call it 2015,
Yeah.
2014 ish.
Mhm.
Okay. So you then go to treatment a second time.
Mhm.
What was that experience like?
It was pretty amazing. I was very lucky, but it's also, as we all know, treatment's not going to work unless you want it. So I wanted it. Obviously my kids were gone. I had been a stay-at-home mom my entire life. Like, I was so humiliated, like, all of the feelings that we get when we, use is just the guilt and the shame and everything. So, I got very lucky with the treatment center that I met an amazing therapist. Like, that was the start of I guess my healing journey and the start of my sobriety.
Yeah. So you leave the treatment facility, and it's crazy because you said the first time you went, I still have my kids.
Mhm.
Then you go back, you
They're
don't have
gone.
your kids. And that's the story in recovery for a lot of people. That
Mhm.
was my experience. I walked in, I compared my I would go to 12-step meetings, I would compare myself to everyone. I'm not like that person. I'm not like that person. I have a
Mhm.
full-time job. I have this, I have that. And then I would relapse, I would go out, and then every time I would come back, I would lose one or two things and then lose that and then lose that. And then it was just, I am that exact person.
Yep.
We are the same people.
We are.
So addiction does not discriminate.
Mhm.
So, okay, you get out of this treatment facility, you have a different experience, a great one.
Yes.
Do you start going to meetings? Do you start working a program after this?
I do. I started while I was in there, I believe. The timing might be off on some of this stuff, so hopefully people don't see it and call me out on it.
No,
But
no, 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 no.
um
It's fine.
yeah, so that's where I found out about AA.
Okay.
Was in treatment because obviously you can go to meetings there. So that's when I found AA, and when I got out, um I literally had the clothes on my back. I was homeless, and but I had this AA and I had this amazing group of people that
Mm,
literally took me, and like I slept on one of the ladies' couches. Like, you know, it was, yeah, but it's all I had.
yeah. So you slowly build your life back.
Yes.
Um, how long do you ultimately stay sober during that time?
I believe it was for I did relapse. Know I hit a year. I can't remember the exact time. So it was probably over a year.
Okay.
And But you have to take in mind too, like, that whole so after I went to treatment and basically started my life over, I had been mad at God before and trying to figure out who I was now that I wasn't a part of that church. Um, because not everybody, my mother and one of my sisters for sure never abandoned me.
Mhm.
Never. Um, but you lose your entire life. Like I literally walked away from my life as I knew it. Nobody, your acquaintances, your friends, it's like one day your whole life just completely changes.
Yeah. Okay, so you make it to a year, you end up having a relapse.
Yes.
When you relapse, we'll call it probably 2016-ish, around
Hmm.
that time. When you relapse, do you relapse on alcohol?
I do.
Okay. And how long until things go right back to the way they were?
You know what? It was a one and done.
Oh, you just okay, you used one
Yep.
time. That happens a lot, and when you go to a program, you have a head full of, 12-step program.
Hmm.
You go, you drink, you get high, whatever, and you know that there is a better way because you have felt it and experienced it.
Yeah.
And then the guilt sets in and you just go right back to the meetings. Yeah.
Yeah, that night was I mean, it's crazy how you can be sober. I don't care if it's a week, a year, 5 years, and you use one time, and that was the night I tried to take my life. So, I woke up in the psych ward the next morning.
Okay. Um, do you have your kids back at this point?
No, we had court that day. That's why I made the decision to drink again.
Okay. Did you end up making it to court?
I did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it was the results of the court that I'm so glad I did this. I called a very good friend of mine and I said, "Hey, I'm going to the bar. I don't care what you say. I'm calling to let you know because this is going to be bad." And she said, "No, you're not." And I said, "Yes, I am." So she actually came to the bar and stayed with me all night. And luckily she did.
Oh my God. Was she someone from the program?
She wasn't actually, she was our kids were friends.
Yeah.
She lived by my mom and then I
Mm,
had met her, but yeah, she turned out to be a very important, you know, person in
person.
my life.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So then you go to the psych ward, you get sober again.
yep.
Okay. And then how long do you stay sober at that point?
It was many years after that.
Oh, okay. So you stayed
Yeah.
sober for multiple years
Mhm.
after that.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
And tell me about those multiple years. Did your life improve significantly during
Oh
that
my
time?
gosh, yeah, I did.
You end up getting your kids back?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep, I didn't have them full time,
Uh-huh.
but I didn't have a full-time, residence to take care of them.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so I had had a few jobs actually, but like very part-time. Like I didn't know what the working, field was. So I started a minimum wage job. Um, and I still didn't have a place of my own, but literally hit the ground running. Like I didn't care what I had to do. I didn't care that I didn't have a place of my own, that I didn't have any money. Um, because, when someone tells you like you're never going to be anything or just so much shit over the years, like especially I'm Scandinavian Finnish, I'm Scandinavian, like we're stubborn. So yeah, every day I would get up. I didn't care how hard it was. Like I went to my minimum wage job and I was not ashamed of that.
Mm.
Here's a mom of 6 kids I was working at the Coburn's gas station, but I was truly happy inside. Like I was truly happy. And that's, due to the gifts of sobriety.
Yeah. We do those sober jobs, those very simple sober jobs,
Mhm.
is to create structure in our lives,
Mhm.
build us back to get back on track as to where we want to go and those bigger goals and dreams. So
Mhm.
there's a reason why, it's suggested to get that very simple, sober job
Mhm.
and go back to the basics.
Yep.
So you stay sober for a couple years, your life improves significantly. When do you have a relapse?
It wasn't until later, till after I was working on the ambulance,
Oh, okay.
I
So
believe.
you got a job as an EMT?
Yeah, so I started EMT school.
Oh,
That was
wow.
when I was working at this Coburn's. So I would work at the gas station, change in the bathroom at work, drive down to was it St. Paul for school with my piece of shit car that I never know if it was going to get me from point A to point B, but
It did.
it did. So yeah, I went to EMT school. I graduated, um, and that was a pretty big deal for me. And yeah, and then I got a job, started working full time on the ambulance.
Okay. And what was that like?
It was amazing. I'll never forget the feeling of the first day, just the accomplishments that I had, going from like getting my kids taken away and being homeless and just being so ashamed of my life, poor life decisions while I was drinking. And now I'm here, I'm working this job where I get to be on the other side, and I get to help people in that way.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget. It was a very surreal moment that.
Yeah, in recovery, it is suggested to help other people who are struggling with addiction. But I also want to say, just helping anyone in general, for addicts, alcoholics, it gives us purpose. It
Mhm.
gave me purpose, helping people,
Yeah.
any which way. Just even holding the door for an old woman or helping an old woman with their packages, putting them in their car, or something like that. Because I had very low self-esteem, and those are
Yeah.
esteemable acts,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And I'm building my core at that point.
Mhm.
So, it gives us purpose, which is huge. So, okay, you're now working on an ambulance, saving lives left and right.
Well,
Did you come across a lot of overdoses and stuff like that?
Yep. So I still work to that at that same job today.
You still at the same job
Yep.
today?
Yeah. So addiction, substance abuse, I can't tell you how significant it is. I mean, we just live in a society where addiction is at an all-time high.
Mm.
Suicide's at an all-time high, like mental health, anxiety, broken homes. But that's the part of my job where I see everybody on their worst day. And we see so much, alcohol. Fentanyl is a big one now. It used to be like meth and heroin, but now it's fentanyl,
Mhm.
which is sad
Yeah.
because, people, you don't last long on that. Whereas meth, people just stay up for days and fight each other.
Yeah, of course, of course.
So yeah, I see a lot of it, a lot.
Yeah. So that must take a toll on your mental
It
health.
does.
So, like, I mean, look, you're 2.5 years sober now, or coming up on 3 years.
Hmm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you must have some routine in place to keep your sanity, given you're seeing everyone on their worst day. You're seeing a lot of shit every day.
Hmm.
So I commend you, and I thank you for helping people. You're helping, communities out there and helping
Hmm.
people. So yeah, it's got to be very tolling on the mental health aspect of
It
your
is.
recovery.
It
So,
is.
okay, so you are working, you get this job, and how long are you working this job, and how do you end up relapsing?
I don't even remember. It was very slow. It wasn't like my last one where,
Yeah.
go out with a bang. But um it was very like, oh, I'll just have a few tonight. I had actually gotten um I was renting a house on my own finally. And I had my oldest full time. The other kids I didn't have full time yet, but I mean they were still in my life.
Was
So
that because she was 18?
no,
Oh, okay.
no, she was this was quite a few years ago still.
Mhm.
Um So I got a house, and it was at that point I think I had just drank probably on less than 5 times, a few times. I think I had just like, oh, I think I can have a few or whatever.
Mhm.
But still, after I did it, just that extreme guilt again, you know. But it's that will forever. you know, be with us is that at some point in time, we're going to think that we can go back out again or we can drink like normal again or,
Mhm.
or those thoughts do come back.
Yeah. So you slowly get back into drinking.
Yeah, with periods of sobriety.
All right. So you're just kind of bouncing back
Yeah.
and forth.
hmm
Okay. What time frame is this around? Had COVID hit yet?
That was before COVID still.
Okay. So 2019, maybe early 2020.
Probably right before. Yeah,
Okay.
I would say that's about right.
Okay. So do you eventually end up getting sober again? Where do things go from there?
I just remember it being kind of like I would drink a few times and then be sober for a year.
Mhm.
Um, but during that time when I was started like having a few every now and again, that was when my daughter's journey with addiction started.
Okay, how did that happen?
Um, I don't remember her first like use, but how it all from my mind is when it started is when so she was 13 years old. I think she used when she was 11. She drank alcohol when she was 11,
Mhm.
offered to her by a family member.
Mhm.
When she was 13, she stole a car, and that was the beginning of her journey.
She used to what?
She stole a
Oh,
car.
stole a car?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just but she was at her dad's house and yeah, she wanted to go see her friends, obviously to use. So she stole a car, she drove it an hour and a half. On the way there, she stopped at a gas station, put gas in, and went inside to pay for it. And I ended up calling her in because I had found out the next morning that I think the next morning that she had stolen this car and she was still driving it around.
Someone's random
Yeah,
car?
yeah.
It wasn't
Just
like a family member's car or
no,
anything? Oh
no,
my
just
god.
someone's random car. So I had to call the police on her, because I was just terrified. This is like my 13-year-old never been in any trouble before.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Okay, so you call the cops on her,
I do.
and does she get in trouble?
She does. Yeah, she gets arrested because they caught her with the car.
Yeah, of course, of course.
And I can't remember if she was high or whatever, but she did that was her first time in juvie.
She went to juvenile hall.
Mhm.
Wow.
She was, I believe it was 2 to 3 weeks she was in there, and then it was at that point yeah, that was the point that she came to live with me full time, and she never went back to her dad's, so
Okay.
I picked her up, from jail, and
Do you know what year you picked her up from jail? Or
it was
juvenile hall, rather?
probably 2018, maybe beginning of 2019,
Okay, and she was
2018.
13 at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So she's 13, you pick her up 2018, 2019. She's living with you full time.
Yep.
What does the progression look like with your daughter at that point when she's living with you full time?
Oh, yeah, it was it was pretty bad. Um, it wasn't long after that where I'll never forget this. We were driving down the road and she looks over at me and told me she started using meth. And I just screamed because of my job. I was still fairly new to my job and still learning about, because I had never done drugs before that. So seeing just the impact, how many dead bodies you have from overdoses, and so, but yeah, she had actually journaled about this moment that her and I had in the car. And after I screamed, I didn't belittle her. I didn't yell at her. And it was an impactful moment for her because she journaled about it years later. That, like, you're my whole world. And I don't remember what else I said, but I just couldn't believe that my child was using meth.
Mhm.
Like, I never thought, because she had used alcohol and probably maybe some pills of some sort, like, Gabby's or whatever, but she hadn't progressed to like the meth and heroin and stuff like that.
Oh
So,
my god. Okay, so then after that happens, was that a cry for help or did she just continue using right through all that?
No, she continued. She
Okay.
continued using, but her and I were so close that she would tell me like almost everything. I mean, she would tell me so much, which, as a parent, you want your kids to be honest, but you don't want to know everything. When they go out on the streets or when they go out on these benders,
Mhm.
you don't need to know the details, but I knew a lot. I knew so much
Yeah.
because her and I were so close. So, yeah, she continued from that point on. It was, treatment centers, juvie again, probation, treatment center. It was just a constant.
Okay. Now you lost your daughter in 2.5 years, almost 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I am so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Can you take us through what had happened that day?
Um, so I guess maybe I can talk about, well, so I had gotten the phone call. Um, she wasn't at home at this point. She was actually out on the streets. She was at the worst point in her addiction that we'd ever seen. I mean, you think that you can't go any lower, and there's more there's more steps to go down, like, with addiction. Um, so it was about 8:30 in the morning, I had gotten a phone call, and it was the day before that, no, it was that day. Um, okay, so let me start over. It was a Tuesday morning we got the phone call. Um, Monday, the day before, her probation officer was trying to get a hold of her. She had called me and said, "Hey, have you talked to Tyra?" And I said, "No, I hadn't. I think I talked to her on that Sunday." I said, "No, I hadn't," because I think it was within the week that she died. She went to, she was trying to go back to treatment. I got confirmation that she was in treatment because she had called me when she was there and
Mhm.
she had left.
Okay.
Um, so we got the phone call, and I didn't ask too many questions. You're just in a state of shock. And then we find out that she had actually died 24, or I don't know how many, literally 24 hours before that. And she was a Jane Doe.
And the police department called you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she had been a Jane Doe because she had, the people that she was with, they only knew her first name. And my daughter had minimal, like a backpack full of stuff on her, and nobody knew who she was. So she was, sitting at this morgue for 24 hours.
How old was she when she passed away?
18.
18.
Mhm.
And she had passed away from fentanyl?
Okay, so we got the phone call, and that's what I had assumed, right? Because she was just using a crazy amount. And she had told me before she died that she was trying to overdose on them, just trying to take as many as she could. Um, and they said that she actually committed suicide. But that comes along with, the addiction. And that's, in the future, that's something that, like, I want to become a motivational speaker. That's what I want to, and, one of the things I want to talk about is that suicide within addiction.
Yeah, when you're that deep in it and
Yeah.
you think there's no hope.
Hmm.
And I do want to say, if there is anyone listening that is in that place, um, see, I was at a place where I didn't care if I died or not. I didn't care.
Hmm.
I wasn't actively trying to jump off a building or anything, like I just
Yeah.
didn't care.
Hmm.
But if you are in that position, I mean, you're living proof, I'm living proof, and there are many more of us out there. You can get back to where you were at that happy stage in life,
Hmm.
and without drugs and alcohol, you can come back from that. And I think it's important that people understand and have hope, because I didn't have any hope. And then I remember going to rehab thinking my life was over, and my life was actually just beginning.
Yep.
It was a beautiful process coming back. But again, I am so sorry for your loss. Now, you had been drinking up to that point. Did you go do anything further than drinking, or was it just drinking?
Just alcohol. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that your sobriety date?
No, because I think so that year, it was on and off. I think that year was pretty minimal for me as far as my use goes.
Mhm.
But I still to this day can't remember the last time
Oh, your exact
that
date.
yeah.
Okay, but it was around the time that this tragedy had happened.
Yeah, or if
Couple weeks or whatever later.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, so you are in sobriety today.
Mhm.
Do you go to meetings today?
I have not been to meetings. So let me explain this.
Yeah.
So my daughter and I went to meetings together, Tyra.
Mhm.
And we started so I have a home group or,
Mhm.
meeting that I love to go to. Um I was very involved in it, so was my daughter. And when she died, I I did go I think a couple days after she passed and I've only and I have to say this because I have to be honest that I haven't I've only been back a handful of times since she died. Um, but that for me is the avoidance. Avoiding places where her and I would go. Am I going to go back regularly? Absolutely, I am.
Yeah.
But the journey that I've been down, I know, and I have to give myself grace for that and not beat myself up.
Mhm.
So
It's a trigger for you.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
there's nothing wrong with avoiding triggers. And have you found new meetings, or what are you doing today to stay sober?
So the biggest thing for me is so I started therapy and I started EMDR.
Mm.
So my life has literally revolved around this EMDR. Like the first year and a half that she died, I traveled all the time. That's all I did. Is because I didn't want to face my reality and the fact that she was gone.
Mhm.
And they say like the second year in child loss is the worst, and it is. So yeah, like the first year and a half, I just was like busy, 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 travel, travel,
Mm.
work, work. Um,
Never sat with the feelings really, right?
nope.
Yep.
Um, and I think a lot of people were, looking at me like, oh my gosh, she's doing so good. And so it was about a year ago that the floodgates just opened and it just ripped off, not even slowly. It was like one day everything just it all hit me
Mhm.
again. And um that's when it just got really dark again.
Yeah. If you could go back, because there are a lot of parents who have children who are addicts or alcoholics who are active currently. If you could go back when your daughter was still alive, do you think there was anything that you could have done that changed anything, or maybe a piece of advice that you would give a parent listening who was in your situation?
Looking back, I would say for the most part, no. Um, and I'm glad you asked this because I felt so alone as a parent, like so alone. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any friends that went through this. Um, just dealing with constantly trying to help um your child. But if there's anybody that's going through this, it is one of the most difficult journeys that you will go on is watching your child go through addiction because they turn into that person that you don't know anymore. And I had to do the tough love thing to her.
Mm.
It was and I would say to do a lot of parents can't do the tough love thing, but ultimately it could save your child's life.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for coming on, and congratulations on almost 3 years sober.
Thank you.
Um, thank you for sharing your story, getting vulnerable with us, just to help someone else.
Mhm.
It's admirable. And again, thank you for coming all the way from Minnesota.
Yeah. Oh, do I have time to tell a story?
Oh, yeah. What kind of story do you want to tell?
A story about me and Tara.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
yeah.
please. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Like, there's so many things. So, it was maybe 2 years before a year and a half, a year, somewhere around in there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a year and a half before she died. I had gotten really drunk one night, and I was very angry with her, blaming her for my drinking. Um, and I had never been to jail before, and I, woke up in a jail cell. And I had blacked out, and there was, like, pieces that I remember, but I had woken up when I was in, what do you call it? So they had, like, the holding cells.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually outside the holding cell, doing paperwork, but I had came to at that point, and I remember asking, like, "Why am I here? You need to tell me why I'm here. I don't know why I'm here." But here's the crazy part, and I don't know whether to be grateful for this story or how to feel about it because, guess who was in the holding cell right next to me?
Your daughter.
My daughter.
What did you guys do? Did you steal a car or something?
No, she was in for, I think, a probation violation.
Okay.
She was in for something like little, right? I got pissed off, went off the handle. I was very angry, frustrated with her addiction, but at the same time I was drinking. So I had gotten a little feisty and gotten arrested
Put hands on
for
her?
no, not her.
Oh, okay.
No, at home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She was already in jail that night.
Oh.
So I guess I walked in jail, or they brought me through the Sally Port, and she tells me the story because I don't remember that part.
Yeah.
And she yelled out, "Was that my mom?" Because she knows that I'd never been to jail before.
Mm.
So her and I were just yelling and screaming at each
Yeah.
other, um, back and forth. But it's just, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. Where can people find you? Are you on social
I
or
am.
okay?
Yeah. TikTok, I pretty much just use TikTok
Okay.
and Instagram. Um, Both of my handles on TikTok and Instagram, I believe. I have to think about this.
I'll
I
look
might
it
have to
up.
look.
Go ahead.
Yes.
What is it?
TikTok is Tyra's mom.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you coming on. People know where to find you on TikTok now.
Okay.
And thank you again for traveling down and your willingness to come on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having
Of
me.
course.